Are you tired of losing in Warzone? Do you still feel like you haven't improved in all those weeks of playing? Today I'm gonna give you the ultimate guide on how to improve your Warzone game. Let's go! Welcome back to yet another video. My name is Sven and I also go by the name of Nevz in the gaming community. I stream Warzone every Monday to Saturday, so if you want to pay me a visit, that'd be hugely appreciated. So today we're gonna talk about how to improve your gameplay in Warzone. This is all from my personal experience after playing the game for 9 months. And to give you a perspective, I started with a KD of 0.67, imagine that. And I just finally hit 3 KD last month with 800 wins to my name. So now I want to share all that knowledge I gathered from these past 9 months and teach you guys how to improve your own gameplay and several tips and tricks in Warzone. So let's get straight into it. So let's start with the first topic, positioning. Positioning will win you most of your gunfights, even if you play against the best players in the world. If you're in the right position and you catch the other players off guard, 90% of the time you're gonna win that gunfight. So one thing you want to do is always shoot when you have cover. So for example, I can use these as covers, like here. You never want to shoot like this when you're out in the open. You always want to make sure that you have cover while you're shooting, so you can crouch or take these as covers. If you're all out in the open like this, tendency is you will eat all the bullets of your enemy. Whereas when you're behind cover, you can crouch, shoot, and some of those bullets will go to these boxes. So always make sure that you have cover while shooting. Never shoot out in the open unless you have to. Like in certain situations where you're running and suddenly an enemy appears here and you have no cover around you. That's the only time when you really have to shoot without cover. On top of that, you never really want to run out in the open like this. You always want to run, have some cover, go here. You never want to walk like out on the street like this where everybody can shoot you from this building, that building, or whatsoever. So you always want to run where there's cover, like this truck, these walls. You never want to be out in the open like this. Which brings me to my next point, which is killing the angle. What I mean by killing the angle is like, if I hide behind this truck and there's an enemy here, if I crouch, I'm killing the angle because he won't see me anymore. Or what I can also do is run over here, run over here, run over here. Now he won't have any angle to me. Or run towards this building and now he won't have any angle on me. So you always want to be aware where your enemy is. So for example, in downtown, I expect enemies on that building, here, or here. So usually I want to kill those angles of those buildings if there are people there. So another example, if my enemy is here, I could kill the angle by going here so he won't see me. Or I could go into this tent so he won't see me. So try to use all covers or ridges or buildings beside you. Let's say there's an enemy over in this building. You don't want to be running out here. What you can do to kill the angle is move up to this building right here, and now he won't have any angle on you. And now you can push up to that building. So I'm gonna run here, run here. So you have always to pay attention to your surroundings and where your enemies are and kill off all those angles that they have to you. Or if you can't kill the angle, make the time for them to shoot you so short that they don't even have the chance to kill you. Like for example, I want to push this building. I could run out here in the open like here, but that would give them like 5-10 seconds to kill me off. What you want to do is wrap around. Let's wrap around. I go into this building, cross here, go into this bus, back. This way, they won't have that much time of killing you because you had the cover of the bus and you had the cover of this building. Whereas if you would have run out here in the open, they would have all the time to kill you. Whereas we've wrapped around here, the only chance where they had the time to kill you was when you were crossing here. So guys, always try to kill the angle of your opponent, or if you can't, make it harder for them to kill you. Let's have another example without any buildings where you have only ridges and trees. Let's say perhaps there's an enemy over here. Right away you're at a disadvantage because they're on the high ground. What you can do is push up to this ridge. Push up to this ridge here. And now you can peek him from here. Or you can wrap all the way around. If your enemy is there, somewhere here, you can use this ridge as cover. You're killing off the angle that way. So push around all the way, you can wrap around him. And bang, flank him like this. This is also especially useful when you're plating. Like let's say my enemy is right here. If I crouch like this, he won't see me anymore. Because you were killing off the angle by using this little ridge right here or going here. So now we can play it up safely because he won't have any angle on me. So pay attention to all those ridges, all those stones, all the trees around you. Also when you're shooting, don't shoot like this where you're out in the open. You want to shoot like this where you have the stone as cover. Or let's say you're on top of a building. You don't want to shoot like this where your whole body is exposed. What you can do is shoot like this. Go back up a little bit and use this as cover. If you're at a disadvantage, you can just crouch and boom, the guy won't have any angle anymore and you can play it up. So be aware of those angles which your enemy has on you. So let's say if he was here, I'm going to use this as cover. So only my head is exposed. If I'm losing the gunfight, I can just crouch and play it up and reset. Let's say you're on top of a building. Don't pick like this if your enemy is here or here. Use this as cover. Don't pick like this. Like for example, I'm going to show you. Use this as your cover to give your enemy a hard time to kill you. Instead of peeking like this where your whole body is exposed. Also, you need to be aware of where your enemies are in order to kill the angles. Let's say I want to shoot an enemy here, but I know that somebody's up here. If I stand here, I'm open to these guys. So I don't want to be out in the open shooting these guys. So what I want to do is move to this little cover and I can use this cover so I'm free to shoot these guys. So always be aware of your surroundings and where your other enemies are. Don't just focus on the guys you are shooting. Also focus on those potential enemies you have around you, like these guys. Another good example for this would be I have enemies here at fire station, but there's people behind me. So I don't want to be shooting out like this in the open because they could shoot me in the back from here. I can just move a little bit here and now I'm covered from these guys and can shoot really at those guys at my will. So always pay attention to your surroundings and where your enemies are. Also, by killing the angle, most likely your enemy won't see you, so it's easier to wrap around them, flank them, or catch them by surprise. So guys, always remember to kill the angle, or if you can't, make it harder for your enemy to kill you by having some sort of cover in a way. Okay, let's move on from that. Now let's talk about our next point, which is trigger discipline. Now I see a lot of people where when they see an enemy, they just shoot without thinking. Like for example, your whole team is crossing this street. There's an enemy right here, but those opponents are fighting with somebody over here. Now your teammate is shooting this guy which is over here while you're out in the open, and now draws all the attention to your team where you're now all in the open, don't have any cover, and you're just dead meat. So guys, don't be that guy. Think before you shoot. You don't always have to shoot your enemy right away when you see them. If they don't know that you are there, sneak up to them, get closer, get a higher chance of killing them by closing the gap and catch them by surprise. To demonstrate, let's say my enemy is somewhere over here on top. Don't shoot him unless you're 100% sure you can down and thirst him. Because if you just shoot them right away, you'll just give away your position. So what you want to do, don't shoot them, get closer, wrap around, get into a better position where you have a better percentage of downing and killing them instantly. So the only time you want to shoot your enemy is when you can 100% down them or give cover to your teammates who are flanking. Also, for example, if a team is crossing from Boneyard towards here, don't shoot them while they're still on the wall and give away your position. Wait for them to run here where they don't have any cover. So first, you have more time of killing them, and secondly, they will have a hard time to find cover. As if you would shoot them right here, they just could run back to the wall. So trigger discipline guys, let your opponent run out in the open and then shoot. Because if you can't down them, all that it does is give away your position. So catch them by surprise and let them run out in the open where they have no cover and nowhere to run. Let's talk about cover fire. Now you don't always have to shoot with the intention to kill, like I said earlier. You can also shoot to support your teammates by providing cover fire. Now when do you provide cover fire? You provide cover fire when, for example, somebody is flanking or somebody is trying to wrap around to draw the attention to you, or so they won't be able to shoot your teammate who might be crossing an open street. Or another good example, your teammate got downed. What you can do now is shoot those enemies even if they're not peeking, so your teammate can safely revive your other teammate. Or another common one, when your enemies are on top of a building, you are at the stairs pushing them, you tell your teammates to make noise by shooting them. So those opponents on the rooftop won't hear your footsteps while you're going up the stairs. Know when to engage and disengage. Always choose your battles wisely. You don't always have to take all fights. Engage when you have the positional advantage, or when your enemy is busy fighting someone else and are looking elsewhere, then you can push up to them. But if you're in a bad spot, don't force it. Back off, wrap around. Acknowledge when you're at a disadvantage and respect your opponents. Like I said, even if you're facing a bad player, if that bad player is in a good position, you're most likely gonna lose. So some tips on how to know when there's an opening. One good opening is when your enemy is busy fighting somebody else. Now you can push up to them while they're distracted. Or let's say you're pushing up a house. Try to down someone first, so those guys in the building will be either plating up or reviving their teammate. So that's a good opening. So let's say my teammate broke somebody's armor on the second floor. When he tells me that he broke somebody, that's my opportunity to push up to that building or up to the second floor, since those guys will still be plating or reviving that guy. So know your opening and know when to engage and disengage. Like for example in a 1 versus 4, you don't want to take everybody head on. You want to make it into small battles. You down one opponent, change position, reset, blade up, reload, and then take on the next guy. Don't take on the next guy when you don't have bullets nor any armor, unless you have to. So the key to when you are being outnumbered is don't fight the enemy all head on. Make it into small battles, where you constantly down one or thirst one, and then reset, and then you take on the next opponent. Another thing which is very common around new players, and I see it all the time, is they panic, especially when a teammate gets downed. Instead of analyzing the situation, they run up to their teammate and revive despite enemies being right on them. So my tip guys, don't revive your teammate unless it's safe. Even if it's the best player on your team, don't revive him until it's safe. Fight your opponent, or if you see there's an opening to revive or your enemy is too far from you, then you can revive. Or you can even use a teammate as a bait. So position yourself accordingly and fight, and then revive your teammate. Okay, let's move on to my next tip. Trading kills. So what does trading kills mean? So trading kills mean, for example, me and my teammate are pushing up the stairs and there's an opponent up here. I go up here, I see the opponent, I break him or down him, but in that moment, I lost all my armor as well and my HP bar. So, I don't want to go up here and proceed with the enemies who are still here. What I'm gonna do is I back up, I'm gonna regenerate, I'm gonna play it up, but what my teammate now is gonna do, we're switching, and now he can either finish this guy off or deal with the other two guys who are still up here. Or even if I go down, I can tell my teammate that I broke one or downed one from the other team, and then he can still push up while I can go back down and get revived or do a self-revive while he can deal with the rest of the team. So you don't want to go push in with your whole team right here like this, because if I'm the camper here, if I see all 4 of you here in one line, you die all by collateral damage. So what you want to do is go up the stairs, down one or break somebody. If you still have plates and ammo, you can go maybe for the second guy and then go back down, tell your teammate you downed one or broke one, and then you can swap and he can deal with the rest of the team. So you never want to push up here all together. That just calls for disaster. Or you can let your teammate tank a little bit of the damage, check where the bullets are coming from, and catch the enemy by surprise. But never stay in one line with your teammate. Like for example, I was standing here, my enemy is here. Your teammate should never stand in one line with you, because those bullets will fly through your teammate to you, so you die as collateral damage. Let's move on for the second most important thing for me in Warzone, which is communication or comms. If you watch all the pro players out there or all those famous streamers, you'll see they have one thing in common. They all have good comms. That's why I never play in random squads. Because for me, the key to winning in Warzone is number 1, positioning, and number 2, communication. If you don't have comms with your teammates, it's gonna be super hard to win the game. Guys, this is a team game. If you don't have comms, your teammate won't know where the enemy is, you won't get any info if somebody was downed, and you can call for cover fire when you're reviving somebody or trying to cross a street. And the list goes on, guys. Comms is key to winning this game. So I never play with random players in squad fill, because that just calls for disaster. Because most of those players don't have mics. And if they do, it's gonna be so hard to coordinate with them because it's your first time playing with them. Also guys, please practice your callouts. I see a lot of players who say, he's there, like, where is there? Like, practice your callouts, guys. If you see pros play, they have callouts for all sorts of buildings, for all sorts of boxes, all sorts of places. Your callouts might be different from others, but at least it's specific. Instead of just saying he's there, he's there. So simple callouts like he's on top of red roof, he's on first floor hotel, or stuff like that. That's a huge factor in winning the game. Because you're feeding info to your teammate and they can move accordingly. Because if you don't feed that info to your teammate might get caught out of surprise. Like if you see somebody pushing your teammate and you're not telling them, he might just could die instantly. Whereas if you could ping the enemy and tell him an enemy was approaching, now he can take cover or deal with the guy who's pushing him. So guys, comms is key in winning in Warzone. Practice your callouts, tell your teammates to communicate more, and I promise you're gonna win more games. The next tip is one of my favorites, and you'll often see me do it while playing. Make pinging a habit. So whenever I see an enemy, I always live ping them. This way, not only will I know where they move for a couple of seconds, but also it feeds info to your teammates so they know where exactly your enemy is. So guys, make live pings a habit. Press that alt key or whatever key you have to ping your opponents, even if you're in a gunfight, guys. Live mark them, and I promise it's gonna make you a better player, and it will help out the team hugely. If you can't live ping somebody because you can't see them anymore, or you weren't able to press alt, you can always double alt like this. Movement. So at least your teammate is aware that our opponent is around that area. So if you can't ping your enemy, guys, just double alt. Movement. Tell him he's around police station or he's behind statue. Movement. That's a huge help already to your teammate. So another very important thing in Warzone, guys, is map awareness. Always look at your map. Like especially in the early parts of the games, nobody has suppressor on their guns, nobody has the loadouts, so every enemy will pop out on the map if they're nearby. Also, you will see contracts disappearing in front of you, so you might know that there's an enemy. So now we see there's two enemies right here, and now I can mark them, and now my teammates know that there are enemies around there. Or for me to remember that there were enemies around there. So you see, always use your map, guys. Like even airstrikes, guys. If you see an airstrike pop in, most likely it will come out on the map. So you'll instantly know where that enemy is. So to familiarize ourselves with the map a little bit more, if you see a dot on the map with an arrow on top, it means your enemy is above you. If the dot has an arrow below it, it means your enemy is below you. And if there is no arrow, it means you are on the same level with the enemy. So this is very helpful, especially when you're pushing a building and trying to find your enemy. And my last tip for this video would be, and the most important for me in the long run is, play to improve. Yes, we all know winning is fun, but if you don't lose from time to time, the game will get boring. And if you don't lose, you won't learn anything. So you can't measure if you improved. So guys, I know we all want to win. But if you want to win by just doing recons, camping all the game, camping a house with claymores, you'll never get better at the game. 90% of the time, you're gonna get stomped by aggressive players. Why? Because these aggressive players get into gunfights all the time, they know how to deal with different situations, and they know so much more about the game than those who just camp and do recons all game. They know how to push a building. They know especially how to deal with campers. So guys, if you really want to improve at this game, try to play aggressively more. Get into those gunfights. Even if you die 1000 times, it doesn't matter. Why? Because from those 1000 deaths, you learn so much more than by camping in a house with all your claimers and proximity mines. Because when you're just camping, you are not improving. Why? You're just sitting in a corner trying to shoot people from afar. So basically you're just doing target shooting. Whereas those aggressive players, they deal with hundreds of different situations. So when it comes to the last circles, they know how to deal with those situations. because they have been in those situations for hundreds and thousands times. So guys, if you want to become a better player, play more aggressive, go out of your comfort zone, and always analyze why you lost a gunfight or ended up dying. Don't just think, oh, this guy is cheating. No, that's the wrong mindset. Look at the kill cam, see what happened, see if you were running out in the open, look if your aim was bad, analyze guys, and you'll become a better player from it. And as with everything guys, the key to getting better is practice, practice, practice. If you don't practice, of course, you'll never get better. You will always lose to those people who have thousands of hours clocked on Warzone. Even if you're the most talented player on the earth, hard work will beat talent. So practice your aim, practice your callouts, practice your cover fire, practice your comms, and don't camp, and you will become a better player. If I can raise my KD from 0.67 to 3 KD, you can do it as well. So guys, I hope these tips helped you. I hope you learned from this video. If you think I've missed anything, or if you have more questions, or if you want me to expound on something a little bit more, please let me know down below in the comments. So I hope this video helped you. If it helped you, please drop a like, and please let me know which tip you found most helpful. So guys, thank you for watching, and as always, peace.